Hey there, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Hey there, crypto friends, how we doing out there? Today I wanted to do a quick video and show you basically, I know if you're following along this channel, you're seeing all the trades and you're seeing the how things charted and set up. So I wanted to actually go through for you. And if you are interested in doing this yourself or following along as I go, I'm going to show you from scratch how to set this up and what we're looking at and kind of behind the scenes. So to give you some idea of how to actually make a trade out of this information you see every day from the Crypto Morning Show and the Crypto Happy Hour. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to start with just a brand new ticker. So we'll go over here, we'll click the plus sign. You see I have over here to the right my everyday watch list that I go through. And basically I'm using TradingView. I'm using the beta version, the desktop version of TradingView. You can access this particular platform for free down in the comment section. I should say in the description area, you will see a link to TradingView. You can use my affiliate link if you want to. If you don't want to, it's not a big deal. You can actually download TradingView for free and you can use it every day. I have the pro version, so I do have the ability to run more indicators and more things like that, but you can certainly get by just fine with the free version of TradingView. So with that said, let's get started. So we're going to start over here on the plus sign. We click the add symbol, plus sign, and we're going to type in, let's come up with one for, let's go XEM. This is NEM. And just for shits and giggles, we're going to use the USD version. So we're just going to scroll down through here. As you can see, you can type in XEM USD. That'll filter out all the other ones. You see up here, we have XEM USD typed in there. And what I usually look for here is basically, I'm here in the United States. So if you're somewhere else in the world, you may have more options for, Poloniex, I should say, Bittrex, Hit BTC, some of the other ones, Qcoin, etc. But I'm pretty much limited to Binance US and Coinbase Pro is what I use specifically, and some of the other wallets I use to move things around. So we'll have a look at, we'll just do, we'll use the Binance one here. So we'll just click the plus sign, and what that does is that adds over here to our right, that adds that particular name to our watch list. So we just click on that XEM USD. So now we have a blank screen for you. And first I'll kind of describe to you what information and what indicators I have on the screen so that you can emulate that if you like. So basically I use the 12-day, the 26-day, and the 100-day moving averages. These are simple moving averages. And some folks use EMAs, etc. So I found, and this is not my idea, I actually took this from the charting man Dan from the Chart Guys. He's spent many of thousands of hours staring at these charts, a lot more than me, but he did say that the 12, the 26, and 100-day work really well with crypto, and I firmly believe it based on what I've seen in my experience. So what I did is I set the 12-day up in the red with a slightly thinner line. Then I took the 26-day here in the blue, and then the 100-day in the yellow with a thicker line. So if we go over here to the left of our screen where it says Show Indicator Legend, we'll highlight that for you, and we'll look at that. So basically, I use the triple MA indicator. So if you go up here to the Add indicator right here, the little F with a small X. If you click there, you'll see here. It brings up a search box, and you can just type in triple MA. And you see I have this one favorited. You can just click to the left here, and that will put a star by it. And that's the one that I use. So basically what that does is that allows me to populate the screen with these three moving averages. You just go to the gear icon to the next of it, and you can type in whatever range you want. So for the MA1, I use the 12, MA2, the 26, MA3, the 100. Click over to Style. You see I have the red, and then you can click here. This lets you delineate the line size you want, the opacity, color, etc. if you want to make your colors different. But if you're following along, and then you can choose with different kinds of, some people use these crosses, circles, what have you. So I use lines. And so basically I'm just going to leave precision as default, hit OK. So now you got the 12-day moving averages, the 26 and the 100-day. You hear me talk about it all the time. And then now we also have the standard. This is just the everyday run-of-the-mill volume indicator, 20. We'll look at these inputs just so you compare. MA length 20 days. And then I'll leave this unchecked for color based on previous close. And the styles are all default for the volume. And then you will see here as well, I do have this yellow, thin yellow line is your average volume that is calculated for you there. Okay, moving on. Some of the other things that I use are pivots. It's called the pivots HL 5 and 5. So you have the swing high and the swing low. And we'll look at the attributes for that for you. So if you just go into same scenario, go into the FX button up here at the top, indicators and strategies, search for pivots HL. Get that up, and I'm using the length high and the length low, 5 and 5. The style is all default. And you can change the style if you wish for pivots HL. And the last thing that I have on the screen is down here is the RSI 14 close. We'll look at the attributes for that. Same scenario, you just search up here in the indicators. And I use the length is 14 and the source is the close. Okay. Well, there you go. So now you have all of that set up onto the screen, just like I have it on the daily watch list for you there. I will show you some of the behind the scene things. I do use sometimes the Bollinger Bands, and you can bring those in. These are the white lines. I did customize this because it does kind of interfere with the color scheme that I have, and it gets a lot, as you can see, it's pretty, we can turn you just click the eyeball, turn it off and on each of these indicators. So we'll turn the moving averages off so you can see clearly. So basically this is the Bollinger Band, and it's using, I think it's standard deviation is 2, yeah. And so standard deviation is 2, and then this middle line is the mean, or the middle, and then you have the standard deviation on either side of that. And you can use this during these times when you see this compression right here, and the price starts to compress and then the explosion. You can also see if you're overshot above the standard deviation, tends to want to come back down and revert back to the mean. This is not a good indicator or not a good sign, but you can see back in here, we got outside there, we came back, ran around the average, overshot, tried to come back, overshot to the bottom side. So you can use the Bollinger Bands, and what I will suggest for you here is don't try to use too many indicators. That's one of the biggest mistakes, and I mentioned that in my introductory video, is one of the biggest mistakes beginners have or encounter is trying to use too many indicators, and they don't really understand what they're seeing. And so what you're trying to do is you're trying to get a good picture of pattern recognition, price history, etc. So don't overcrowd it with too many indicators is the advice I give you. One other one I'll show you really quick is the VWAP, the volume weighted average price. A lot of folks use that. You can see here it works really well. Tends to always stick to that VWAP. So if you're above the VWAP, you're going to come back down to it. If you're underneath it, you're going to bounce off of it. You can see here it was resistance, brought us back down. etc. So sometimes I'll switch in behind the scenes when I'm charting up for you in the mornings and the evenings. I'm looking at these to give me some more information if I have some uncertainty of what I'm seeing on the screen. That is your VWAP. So we'll turn the triple MA on. There we go. So now we're back to normal. So basically what we have here is what I typically use is the Fibonacci retracement tool. And you'll see that I have this Fibonacci retracement starred for my favorites. So you can do that too. You just click over there. And so what I'm looking at is I have these price pivots, and I think this would be a good example here. So we have this pivot high and then swing low, swing high, swing low pivots. So if we were going to try to evaluate that, so what we'll do is we'll take this Fibonacci tool and we'll bring it in here, and I'm going to start here. And what you're looking for, now I can't see it. That's hilarious. And it's upside down. So, nope, that's correct. So what you want to do is put this one of these on the pivot high and one on the low. There. And so what that's telling you, let me see if I can zoom in and we can see this. And I think I have these in the wrong order as I do. Yes. So we want to do the first retracement we're looking at is not when it's going up, but when it's coming down. So we're going to do the retracement here. We have the top up here. And these are Fibonacci values. And if you need more information on that, I cover that in detail on the introductory video I did. So look into that for your Fibonacci. So basically what that's saying is you go up and you're going to expect to go back to this 50. This is a halfway point between the top and the bottoms, the swing high and the swing low. So typically, as you can see, we got up here, came down, overshot the 50, tried to come back to it, rejected, came back down to here. So basically what you'll see me do is I'll draw this Fibonacci retracement. This one is tracing from the top down. Then I take another Fibonacci and I'll draw that one top up. What you want is I got this backwards. I'm glad I'm showing you here. So what you want is for the one on the left, you want from 0 on top, 100% on the bottom. The one on the right, you want 100% on the top and 0 on the bottom. So you line these two up, bottom and top. So there we go. That's what you normally see. And then, so we're going to look for some values here. If your Fibonacci does not look like mine, let's go ahead and go in there and have a look at those attributes. So as you see, I have only checked the 0, the 0.382, the 0.618, the 1, the 0.236, the 0.5, the 0.786, and the one of these two, I can't remember, either it's the 0.786 or the 0.886 I added. And these are Fibonacci ratios. And we use these particular ones, and you can use some of the other ones. Some people use the to trace extensions. You know, I'm sure you heard of Fibonacci extension. So if it goes beyond the 0 to 100%, there's other ratios here for you as well. But I was trying to stick to this because this kind of worked out over the years pretty well. So once we get those drawn on the screen, then we'll take this rectangle tool, which is right over here on the left-hand side. You'll see I've got it favorited, and you can do that as well. So I click on this rectangle tool, and I'm looking for that 0.786 and the 0.886 over here on the left side. And I'll just take and click on that corner, bring that down, and just bring it over to that other one. So I'm lining up my bottom on that 0.886. So there's that one. And then once you get that set, you know, this is just going to draw or it'll use the attributes of the last one that I drew. So this particular one just shaded red. So what you could do is you could either right click or double click on this to access the attributes. And what I did is I actually set up some templates. And how you do that is, you see I have a buy, evaluate, and sell. And those are the ones you see on the screen with different attributes. You don't want to have to type all this text in here, because the buy one will say you type in buy, you have to turn that to green, and then you want to be centered and all these. So what I did is I just went in here, and once you get the attributes the way you want it, you just go over here to template, save as, and just name it whatever you want. And these templates will appear so that when it'll save you a lot of time. So I'll give you an example. So you see this one here is shaded red. All I do is double click, click template, click buy. There's my buy attributes. So that's all good to go. Rather than having to draw each one, all I do is Control C, or Command C, or Command V on the Mac. Drag that bad boy. So the middle one goes right here on the 50, and I'll align this center dots up on that 50 retracement. Then all I have to do, double click. Oops, double click the wrong spot. There we go. Get some area. There we go. Double click, click. Select my evaluate template. There we go. Command C, Command V. And then on the right hand side, we have the 76 and the 886. Or 786, I should say. Right over there. You see these two lines here. So I'll line those up. Double click. Hit sell. Okay, so now I've got this is the configuration you're normally looking at when you see me chart these things. So now that I have that going, and you'll see that I usually do it over here to the right. So I'll just, basically what I do is I've been leaving, when I started I do this, but I've been leaving these buy, evaluate, and sell targets just so I can back test, so I can look backwards to see how these Fibonacci's are performing, and just leave those on the screen. So as you see right now, we don't have any price pivots coming up into this. We're on the 4 hour here, and that's what I usually use. So, but we do have a double top up here and a low down here on this wick. So we can actually use that to project out. So we figure we're going to retrace all the way down to this low here. And that's kind of how I do that. And then I'll come over here and grab this other one. You just click on it somewhere and just drag it. And we'll line things up. Here we are. Line the bottom up to the bottom of that previous low right there. And then we just rinse and repeat, right? So we'll do a rectangle, I should say, not triangle. There we are, rectangle tool. See, there's the last attribute. Quickly double click, buy, Command C, Command V, up to the 50, evaluate template, Command C, Command V, then we got set up, and we'll do the sell target. There we are. So basically what we're looking at is, as you can see on this particular candle at this point in time, it is getting support off this 100-day moving average very clearly here on the 4 hour. Came down, bounced off that. That's a good sign. So that would be your point of entry, is if you want to zoom in and dial in here on the 30-minute time frame. And what you're looking for is when this one was coming up, you had this indecision doji. And then we did close, so we had a higher high, and then that would have been your trigger to jump in there and fire at will. So now that we got our Fibonacci set up, we got our buy, sell targets going. Now we'll put those lines on the screen, the support lines. How we do that is we go over here to the left, and we're going to look for the horizontal line. You see I have that favorited. We'll click that horizontal line tool, and then I'm looking down here at the bottom of this previous candle. So support's going to be way down here. We'll just go ahead and drop a line there, and it's and I'll show you how to customize that in a second. So we'll switch over to the 1 hour because we know there's going to be some support prior to that. So we go all the way over here, previous price action. And we do have support that we can find a little bit closer right there. So there's our support level. We'll go back to the 4 hour, and I'll go ahead and hide that out of the way. So now we want to change this to what you see. Basically, it's going to be a white line. I'll double click that line, and all we have to do is go over here, change that color to white. Show text, we're going to put in support, type that in there, support. We know what that means. You can put bottom right would be the alignment of that text. And then style, that's where I get the dotted line right there. You can use a line or a dash line, ever how you want it. I like to use the dotted line. And we're going to change the line color to white. Okay, so there we go. So now we have our support line drawn. So now we need our resistance. We'll just kind of rinse and repeat. So we go here to horizontal line tool. We see our resistance up here on the top of this wick. We draw that in there. We'll just double click real quick and type in resistance. There we go. Now we have a resistance line drawn. So we have support, resistance. Now all we need to do is we need to get us the stop loss in there. I want to show you that. So we use same tool, horizontal line tool. Pop down here somewhere. And then what I did with this particular one is I've got me a template set up, and all it does is I use these white lines so often. I can just double click on that line, click template, and I've stopped. That's just going to populate the text with STOP and make the text color red and the style red. So now we have our stop loss line, and we would normally want to put that just beneath a solid moving average. So we see that 100-day moving average there, we would put our stop right there. So hang in there, we're almost finished. So now we have our support, we have our resistance, we have our Fibonacci, we have our buy, evaluate, and sell targets up and running. We're all set to go, except one thing we can do here if you really want to tweak things a little bit. And here's where, if you have the free version or the paid version, it's only like $12 a month if you pay for it. It's not that much. If you're going to trade this stuff seriously, I would say it's a good investment. I mean, I don't mind spending. I can go without I can skip a breakfast or a lunch here every once in a while and pay for it for the entire month. So we have our stop loss here. So what we want to do is convert that thing into an alert. To do so, all we have to do, right click, add alert on a horizontal line, click that there, and it's going to bring up all the attributes for this particular alert. And so basically we're saying, so when XEM USD crosses this horizontal line, and you can say how many times you want this to do that. You can have it only one time, once per bar. I wouldn't recommend that, once per bar close, or once a minute. So depending on your urgency and how often you want to be alerted, you can choose whichever you want there on those options. You can also set an expiration time. If, say, for instance, you wanted it to do it like once every minute just to check it, you could give it an expiration date and time. And then you also have some alert actions, which is pretty cool. So you could have it notify you while you're in the app, show a pop-up, send you an email. You can even have it send you a text message. So right here, send email to SMS, and that'll text you so that you know that your stops are triggering. You need to go into your exchange, whichever app you're using or what have you, and close the trade. As you can also see, I have a webhook URL here to my Discord, and then as a paid subscriber you would get alerts on my alerts, and then you can click this question mark here and it'll tell you how to do all webhooks and all that stuff. You can use Slack, Discord, all kind of APIs that you can make this thing, and you can play a sound. You can choose that, etc. One thing I want to show you before we go here, though, is on the message. So what you're going to see when the alert pops up is going to be a dialog box, and we'll trigger it here in a second. So it's going to see XEM USD 4-hour crossing the horizontal line. You can change that text, crossing stop loss. There we go. We'll create that, and then we'll trigger this bad boy for you real quick. Kind of move him right into there. You zoom on in, get a little tighter. See if it'll go. I think it just fired, but I didn't have the I didn't have the pop up going, did I? Let me change that for you. Go ahead and select the double click. Excuse me, right click. There we go. Hit it, horizontal line alert. Show pop up. There we go. Now, so if we're in the application, when it fires, that's what you're going to see. XEM USD crossing stop loss. There you go. Then you can pop over here and with this little alarm clock, you click there. Click on alerts. You can see your alerts log that it did fire and was triggered. You can also use these alerts to create your own trading bots. Be careful with that. Great way to siphon off all your money. You can clear that alert. Just hit here, clear log, and we can start all over again. So there you go. That's pretty much how we do. We set the alerts. We set the stop losses. We're going to bring that down here back where it belongs for NEM or NEM or XEM USD. I hope that helps you out there. I wanted to jump in there. I had some folks questioning, like, what the hell am I looking at when I see this every day? And hopefully that will give you some more insight on how to chart along with me. That's what I recommend, because what happens, you start to build up visual recognition. After a while, you don't even need all of these buy, sell, evaluate, Fibonacci's. You can just tell by looking at it. You know that from here to here, that's about halfway. You're looking at the moving averages, watching those, see how it interacts. You can see here we got good solid support off that 100-day moving average. And when this candle here rejected off the 12-day, this candle here rejected off the 26, got through that but couldn't close through it. So as you can see, that's how those moving averages work so well. So thank you very much, folks. And I will see you on the Crypto Morning Show or the Crypto Happy Hour. Be sure to like, subscribe if you appreciate this. It is free 99. It doesn't cost you a thing. Have a great one. We will speak to you soon.